Well, good morning. I'm on week 22 now, so well into my journey. And the figures first. So the big weigh-in this morning was I'm now exactly 76 kilograms, which means I lost 1.3 kilograms last week. Now, I know that's quite a lot at this stage of my journey, but I'll explain that in a minute. So that's a total loss so far, 25.9. And that equates to £57. So I'm getting there, and I feel really confident now that I am going to reach my goal, around 60 something kgs. It's been a relatively good week. I explained last week that I'm starting the ketogenic diet. I will put up, as I'm talking to you, I'll put up a couple of pictures of the meals that I had. I only took a couple. But basically, I'm having just one meal a day now, and I've been doing that for the last sort of 3 days. Well, that's not strictly true. It's not just one meal a day. I'm having one reasonable sized meal, normal portion sized meal around lunchtime, around 12 o'clock, sometimes a little bit earlier. I'm feeling hungry, but generally around 12 o'clock. And I'll, you'll see that it's equally portioned out. So I've got a reasonable size of salads and stuff. I've got the fats, which is in the cheese and the avocado. And you'll see that I've got the protein, which is in the chicken and the egg. And yeah, so just a couple of meals I'll put up so you're not bored with looking at that. So like I say, I'm having that one main meal a day, and then so I'm having about a 6-hour window where I can eat. They call it feeding, and I really don't like that term. My husband don't like that term either. It's, fasting feeding. Ugh, feeding sounds horrible. So we'll say the 6-hour window where I can have something to eat. So I have that big meal, and then I peter off. I sort of have maybe a couple of coffees with a little bit of cream in it, the thick cream, or not thick, pouring cream, I'll say. Maybe one, maybe two, depending on how I feel. And then in the evening, I've been having, or not in the evening, but before 6 o'clock, I've been having the Greek yogurt that my husband makes me with some berries in it, with some chia seeds. So I've discovered chia seeds are really good, so I'm having those in the yogurt as well. So that's good. So I've done that really strictly for the last 3 days. And I'm finding it relatively easy to do. The one part of the day that I struggle with is now, which is breakfast time. I start getting the gurgles in my tummy, saying, "Oh, feed me." It's been a while, but I think that's sort of habit, because I had so many years with just, putting away breakfast the minute I come back from walking the dogs, that my stomach's got used to it. So that's the hard part for me. Once I get through that, which is only about an hour, a couple hours, like I've got it now, and I can't have anything to drink. Oh, I can have water or fruit teas, something without a carb value, or a calorific value. So I'm sticking to the tonic water with just a little bit of no carb, no sugar flavouring in it, which is quite good. And that sort of bloods you out a bit and fools you into thinking you've had something to eat, if you like. And then once I've had that main meal at 12 o'clock, I sort of, that's fine. I can go through, and then I'll have that little snacky thing at 6 o'clock. And then the rest of the time is fine. So it's just that little morning period. If I can sort of cope with that little morning period, then I think this is going to work for me throughout the rest of my diet, or my weight loss program, because basically I've chosen now probably to stay on this diet for the rest of my life, in the sense that I am going to completely reduce my carbs. I may go back to 2 meals because I won't be on a weight loss. I'll be on a maintenance diet. So I may go back to having perhaps a slightly bigger meal at 6 o'clock or just before 6 o'clock, just to keep that maintenance going. Or I may not some days. It depends on how I cope with it and all that. So having talked about that, Christmas is coming. Now, Christmas is going to be difficult because we usually have the boys over for Christmas and they want a big Christmas dinner. And I've spoken to my son and he said, yes, he wants chicken this year and he wants all the trimmings, Yorkshire pudding, stuffing, potatoes, root vegetables, and all those things I just mentioned, apart from the chicken, are carb laden. So I've decided that I will do the Christmas dinner. I said I'm going to do it for about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that way, you know, it sort of meets my needs and theirs because they don't get out of bed too early. And my husband will be fine with that. I mean, if he's hungry, he can get himself some... Pardon?
I'll be cooking it.
Oh, he's going to be cooking it, and I'll explain that again in a minute. But, you know, he's a big bloke now. He's all grown up. If he's hungry, he can get himself something to eat. That's not an issue. So, you know, and I will sort of struggle probably through that because I love stuffing and I love Yorkshire puddings. So I may, because it's Christmas Day, I might have a bit of stuffing. I probably could leave the Yorkshire pudding, but the stuffing is my one weakness. So I may have some, I may not. And I've decided that I'm going to do above ground vegetables. So leafy greens, broccoli, cabbage, all that kind of thing. Now, I will do carrots, I will do parsnips because my husband and my son like those, so they're not going to miss out just because I'm losing weight, you know, so they will get that. And I may make a dessert which is keto friendly, which I've seen a lot of recipes online around making a cheesecake with berries and stuff. I'm quite happy to do that. It's like crushed nuts on the base with butter, because you can have butter, and then you whip up your cream and then you put your berries on it. So I'm quite happy to do that. So that'll be our Christmas. So yeah, so it's going to be really low key. I don't even bother to put decorations up anymore because we're in a country, it's hot weather. To me, I spent 40 odd years of cold Christmases. It's just not the same out here. Plus, you know, well, I could put the tree up. It's not hot weather at the moment. It's actually raining again. That's a whole nother story, the weather. I could go on about the weather for hours, but I won't. So the other thing is, I've had, I think I've talked to you before about, I was having some issues down below, with, constantly wanting to go to the toilet. It was just relentless. It was like to the point where I was getting out, probably up to 6 or 8 times of an evening, you know, at night, waking up, needing to go to the toilet, which was just horrendous. So I went to the doctor and, we all thought, I did as well, that I had a water infection. She did the necessary tests anyway, that come back negative. So I went back and said to her, look, I know there's something wrong. I can feel it. I just feel, not that I could, you know, I could feel the pressure wanting to go toilet all the time. And I could also feel pressure in my bum, you know, I wanted to go toilet there. And when I got there, nothing was happening. So anyway, cutting a long story short, I went in for an ultrasound, come back with the results, and it turns out that I've got a fibroid, quite a large fibroid apparently, around, I think, well, my doctor told me 10 centimetres, but the specialist told me 8, or nearly 8, so who do you believe? Anyway, but it's quite big, you know, we're talking tennis ball, probably tennis ball size, so it's quite a large fibroid. And that's sitting in my womb, which needs to be removed. So I want it out, and I asked him how much it weighs, and it's about half a kilo. So there you go. I'm half a kilo heavier than I should be. So there are 3 options for surgery. One is you can have keyhole surgery, as I call it, because I can't pronounce the other correct word that they use these days, and they can bring it out like that. Or the other way is they can do a vaginal extraction, where they can bring it out through the vagina, and then there's the normal surgery. And guess what? I have to have the normal surgery, which is an incision in my stomach, and everything needs to come out through that. So unfortunately for me, the other 2 options were just a 2-week recovery period. This one is a 4-week recovery period. And in that period, I'm told that I can't hoover, I can't pick up anything, I can't hang the washing out, I can walk, but I have to take it easy. And for me, that's going to be really, really hard. As you know, I've got all these plants here. I've got tons of orchids. I've taken on some more orchids from an old chap who has become unwell, who's in the society, and he just needed his orchids gone. Went round with my friend Penny, picked up his 150 plus orchids, and I've kept them in a different area because I don't want the bugs, because they've been neglected for quite a while, so they got a lot of bugs on them. They were severely dehydrated, so I'm currently bringing them up to scratch, because this surgery is taking place on the 18th of December, right before Christmas. So, but we've scheduled it like that because my husband breaks up for 2 weeks. He's forced to break up for 2 weeks over Christmas because out here being the summer, you know, everybody takes that summer leave, so the businesses close down for the 2 weeks mostly. So he's only got to take a 4-day period off because he was breaking up on the 21st anyway. And that 4 days I'm in hospital anyway. I have to stay in for 4 nights. So I go in on the Tuesday, come out on the Saturday, and he's taking that time off to look after things around here. Because if it gets hot, he needs to water every day. I shall make sure that my houseplants and my orchids are well watered, so hopefully they'll be okay. And look after the dogs, because the dogs are not used to being left on their own for long periods of time. And then we'll be home together, so I'll be giving him direction. And I don't think he's looking forward to that at all. And I'm not looking forward to it, because I will be frustrated not being able to do something, or probably will do it. And then if I do, I might set myself back, you know. So I've got to show a bit of restraint, which will be hard, very hard. And then at the end, he can take just to make it the 4 weeks, he can take a 4-day sick leave. So he can use his sick leave, even though it's me that's unwell. He's been told in work he can have that sick leave. So it's worked out quite well that we've scheduled it like that, because we've got private medical care. We could schedule it in when we wanted to. I could have waited until the winter when things would be a lot easier. But to be honest with you, I just want it out. I know it's in there. You know, I don't know if I can wait till the winter, being woken up 4, 6, 8 times a night to go to the loo. Plus, I can feel it's getting worse. So, it needs to be gone. So, that's the plan. So, anyway, I think that's all for this week. Like I say, I'm going to definitely stick to this low-carb ketogenic diet for the rest of my life. I might occasionally have the odd carb, but I think, to be honest with you, I think if I was to eat a meal now with pasta, not that I think I could probably get through a big meal with pasta, not the size I used to, I think my body would react to it. I think you would bloat and feel really uncomfortable, and I don't want to feel like that. So, but the odd carb in foods like vegetables, I think is fine. So it'll be the obvious carbs I'm staying away from, which is bread, pasta, rice, cereals, all those big carb value items. So I won't be having those. And obviously staying away from the sugar, because that's carb as well. So completely, you know, not having those either. So anyway, that's all my news. So I will do another update next week, which will be week 23. Hello, Dexter. So then obviously that's Christmas Eve. I will have had my surgery by then, so I'll give you an update on that and how I'm feeling, and more around how I'm coping not being able to do stuff. And yeah, and I'll catch you later. Bye.